KKJ and many others. So I heard a lot about what you guys are doing, but it would be better to come firsthand, to get firsthand information from you. Yeah. So this is my conversation with Ella Ho.
Yeah.
Ella is the Chief Executive Officer of Division 2 in the Home Affairs Department in Hong Kong. So she is in charge of the
Secretary of the ESR program.
Secretary of the ESR, which is Enhancing Self-Reliance Program, which is the funds to help social enterprise. Am I correct?
The funds that supporting the setting up and expansion of social enterprise. It is an initiative from the former Poverty Commission on Poverty.
Commission on Poverty, which is was under Carrie Lam, was it? Or?
At that moment under Tong Ying Lin.
The previous one.
Right, for to help the self-reliance of the socially disadvantaged.
Okay. Can you tell me more about the ESR in general, or some specific things that you want to highlight?
The ESR program has been launched since 2006. It is an initiative of the former Commission on Poverty. It aimed at to enhance the self-reliance and social integrations of the socially disadvantaged. Because I find you want something about the background about the SE development in Hong Kong. And in 1990s, then the social enterprise start to appears in Hong Kong. Some NGOs start to set up some business for their social service. And that time, but not much of this kind of business. And then in around 2000 years, when Carrie Lam is the director of the social welfare, she set up funding. We call the 3E projects.
3E, 3E. 3E.
The full name
Okay, I should be able to find it online, right? 3E project.
It aimed at to help the sub-vendor organizations, some NGOs, to set up some simulating business, small business to create the job opportunities to the disabled. And then they want to give them an actual environment to help the disabled, to help them to integrate with the society, and it is a kind of rehabilitation policy.
Right.
And because of the success of this program, this funding scheme, so in 2006, then the environment of Hong Kong, the economic environment in Hong Kong, have downturns.
2006.
2006.
2006. Okay.
Yeah. So at that moment, the Commission on Poverty suggests that to use the social enterprise to help the self-reliance and create some job opportunity for the socially disadvantaged. And also the social advantage is broader than the disabled. Yeah. So at that moment, the social enterprise start to grow in Hong Kong, because formally we say that a funding scheme for the social enterprise. Before that, even the 3E is not saying that this is a social enterprise. They are just some small business for the disabled.
So at the time when they were called 3E, they didn't use the term social enterprise. They don't even know the concept of social enterprise.
They know the concept of social enterprise, because at that moment some social workers, some person from the social sectors promoting this concept. They have go to the overseas to see to have visit to see how they operate the overseas in UK or in other areas. So they bring the concept back in Hong Kong, and also they try to sell this concept in Hong Kong.
Was it under Lau Chi Kwong, CK Low?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because we employed one of the persons from the sector, from the social sectors, as our project manager. He served as a consultant to us in vetting the applications.
I see.
Because he himself was also pioneers in the social enterprise sector.
see.
So what I know is learn from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I know the person's name? Maybe I would like to interview him as well.
Yang Dekhua.
Sylvia.
Yeah.
Is he in the university or no? Yeah.
No. He was a retired general secretary of an NGO. YG.
What is the name of the NGO?
YG.
G.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a rehabilitation services
Okay.
organizations.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
great.
he is very active in the rehabilitation area services. In fact, he also helped the disabled in the sports area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I just tried to find out the name because I forgot the name of the some.
Yong Dekhua, Sylvia.
Yong Dekhua. Yeah. So he may know much more about the background of the development of social enterprise in Hong Kong.
Okay.
So starting from our scheme, then we normally use the social enterprise terms, and then the social enterprise starts to grow, and also not just because of this scheme, it's because of many parties' efforts to make the social enterprise grow in Hong Kong. Because in 2008. There is some changes. The bureau has the Home Affairs Bureau also set up a SE advisory committee to give some policy directions on the development of the social enterprise in Hong Kong, how to promote our social enterprise in Hong Kong. And also there is a SE Summit. So the SE Summit originally was organized by the government, but after its first summit in 2007, then it began to be organized by the SE Summit Secretariat. Yeah, not by the government no longer, but the government sponsored it. The Home Affairs Bureau sponsored the SE Summit.
Okay.
Yeah, and then because of the collaboration of various parties, the SE Summit became more and more well established and more popular, and now it's become an important annual event in Hong Kong.
Yes.
And also there have been many SE platforms grow in Hong Kong. Yeah, like the Hong Kong Social SE Chamber. Yeah.
Hong Kong Hong Kong General Chamber of Social Enterprise. GCSE.
There's a CMARC.
Alice Hugh, right?
As CMARC in Hong Kong. And Raymond Yim as the Hong Kong Entrepreneurship Forum. And then Patrick Chung, and then the growth of the good performance of Dialogue in the Dark, and also the CKJ's Education for Good. And all these sectors, the collaboration efforts of all these sectors make the SE grow in Hong Kong. And now Hong Kong has the latest figure from the SE Directory, the latest figure is 610 social enterprise in Hong Kong.
610.
But in 2007, then it's only around 200 social enterprise. And our funding scheme has run for more than 10 years, and now we have already approved 205 projects. So compared with 610, then we have already giving funding support for the startup, for setting up of about one-fourth to one-third social enterprise in Hong Kong. So our funding scheme is quite an important funding source for the social enterprise.
Right.
Yeah.
Those who take the ESI grant from Home Affairs Department, are they more what do you call it? Privately started social enterprise, or are they more like NGOs who want to start?
Originally, in the past 10 years, our eligibility for the funding scheme must be charities, non-profit making organizations.
Right.
Yeah. So all our grantees are non-profit making organizations. Mainly are Section 688 organizations.
Right.
And in 2011, we have launched some pilot scheme to allow some non-profit making organizations that do not have Section 688 status to apply. But such scheme does not receive much, did not receive much popularity, because I think very seldom the non-profit making organization will not apply for Section 688. So not much applications from that areas.
I see.
So in the last years, 2016, we also further to introduce some enhancement measure for the for our program. They include we also revamp our pilot scheme. We allow existing social enterprise to apply. So it means that the existing social enterprise are no longer required to be non-profit making organizations. They could be some limited company, limited by shares or limited by guarantee. They can apply for our funding scheme.
What was the reason behind allowing more non-Section 88 and any commercially listed SEs to apply?
Because we see the change in the SE sector in Hong Kong. We found that more and more privately owned, privately funded SE exist in Hong Kong. And we also found their success. Following the growth of SE or the people's awareness on SE, some people like they have already have some business or enterprise running experience. They may want to do something good for the community. So they want to use the SE models to help the societies, just like the Belite, very famous. Yeah, like Belite, also Diamond Cap. Yeah, but they may not have much funding behind, but they have launched a very good SE. So they may want expansions. So we think that will be good for the society if we expand our funding scope to them. So in our enhancement measure, we allow the existing SE to enroll, and also we also allow not only startup. When the program is launched, then we only allow startup projects. But now we allow expansion project. They can sit, if they're doing well, they can sit our fundings. And another group of candidates that we want to attract is some young people, because we found that some young people are also very willing to enter into the SE field. And in fact, our bureau has support. I think you will know that our bureau has supported the SE Challenge, Hong Kong SE Challenge, and Hong Kong SE Challenge has many successful projects. And then they have these youth winners has already tried to run the projects, their projects for some time, at least 1 year, to test to see whether it is workable or not. And some are very successful, some are very good projects, very good ideas, very innovative ideas. So we also want to support this kind of youth to further expand their business for the benefit of the community. But we are still maintain our requirements that all this project has to have a social objective to help the self-reliance and social integrations of the socially disadvantaged. If they are simply for environment protection projects, then we will not support it. They need to create some jobs for the social advantage. If no job for the social advantage, they need to provide some product or service for the social advantage. And this product and service has to help the self-reliance and social integration of the socially disadvantaged. And that is the major move of our last years. And another major move is that we allow profit sharing. Yeah, similar to the SIE fund.
Profit sharing between who and who?
It means that the owner, before when the program first started in the past 10 years, we don't allow the project to distribute the profit to other people, to the owners or to other partners. We do not allow them. All the profit has to be repulled back into the project. But now we allow them to share, to distribute the profit out of the project either to their mother organization for some NGO, or either to their shareholders for some limited company by shares. But we have a requirement that they need to give 50%, half of the investment into the project before they could allow to distribute the profit.
I see.
Yeah, and also all the profit, the amount of profit that allowed to be distributed should not be more than 20%. Yeah.
I see. So this, in a sense, make it more attractive, isn't it, for the
because
who wants to apply for the grants?
I
see. Very good.
Yeah, that is a major move. Program.
Right. So apart from HAB, do I call it HAD or HAB?
HAD
department.
Yeah.
Apart from HAD with that has the ESR as a main product or main policy, so there are also other parties that in Hong Kong that play a role from the government who are actually a member of the government. For example, I know SIE Fund.
Yeah.
Under the efficiency unit, and there's another one.
The SAMI.
SAMI is under social welfare.
The enhancing employment of people with disability through small employment project.
So are there only these three, if we call it from the government side, or do I miss anything? Is there anything else that come from the government?
I think the major funding scheme that clearly support the social enterprise, the setup of social enterprise, these three funding, but also the other funding that may, in certain extent, will support social enterprise as well, like the CNIF fund, from the welfare, Labor and Welfare Bureau.
Communities
investment and CNII.
Community investment something for fund.
From the LWB. Its history is longer than ESR as well. But it mainly the funding is mainly aimed at enhancing the social capital in the community, rather than supporting social enterprise, supporting social enterprise. But in effect, some social enterprise may come out from their project.
And under which department is this?
Labor and Welfare Bureau.
Labor.
Yeah.
Okay. So which is not under Lau Chi Kwong's.
Yeah.
Right. Great.
It's a very successful funding. For enhancing.
But how do you see the uniqueness of the ESR's approach or model to funding compared to
the
SIE Fund or IEE?
SAMI. 3E. Yeah. We have when we perform when we decide to enhance our program, we have conduct a review. At that moment, we also compare ourselves against some 3E and also SIE Fund. 3E is mainly targeting on the rehabilitations of aim at the rehabilitations of the disability. So all their project has to employ more than 50% of the disabled as their staffs. So they clearly have such policies. Yeah. But that's why at the moment there is also some argument why the two funding schemes do not combine. But if we combine, then I think the opportunity for the disability will become less.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why we don't. And their aim is rehabilitations of the disability, and our aim is to enhance the social integration and job and self-reliance of the social disadvantage, which are broader group. Yeah, cover more types of social disadvantaged groups than the 3E. But we also allow our projects to employ the disabled, unless on the condition that it will not more than 50%. If it is more than 50%, we'll ask them to apply the 3E project, funding from 3E projects.
I see.
And our difference with the SIE Fund is SIE Fund is stressed more on the social innovation. Yeah, it also allows some prototype projects, but we don't allow prototype projects. Yeah.
So you want more established, more mature.
Yeah. And they stress on social innovation. Sometimes we require the projects to have a long-term sustainability because they need to be a business. But for SIE Fund, they may not be a very very strict on this element. I think so. I think that, but need to verify with SIE fund.
Sure.
And that is we see the difference between the funding. And also SIE fund, sometimes they will SIE fund also will support some flagship projects, but we don't have such. Yeah.
How do you define flagship? Is it?
They have some flagship project. They like food bank. Yeah. Rather than simply apply, allow, because we simply require our invite applications from the community, from the public, to launch some SE project. But they may take some initiatives to launch some project they consider as important for the poverty, and improving the poverty, elevation of poverty.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So quite different.
Is there any specific kind of areas that you are interested, the ESI is targeting? For example, is it more on things that's related to technology, or things related to youth, or it can be any projects?
It can be any project, but we also have some. It can be any project as long as it can meet our objective. It must be a business. It must be have employment element, or provide product and service for the self-reliance and social integrations of the social disadvantaged. Have a long-term sustainability, the potentials. Yeah, then we will support.
Okay.
But we have in our application guide, we also state that we have some priority we're given to some project that can meet such criteria. Yeah, if they have they include they can provide promotion letter for the social disadvantage in their projects. Can have some collaborations element between with the other social enterprise, and also they have some other added values. Yeah.
I see.
They can use the identify, and the project can identify or utilize the strength of the social advantage. Because in fact, we found that some social disadvantage has some strengths that are not discovered by the others.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if this project can make use of this, then we will give higher priority.
I see. In your overall sense, do you see the social enterprise in Hong Kong unique or different from those in other countries? Is there something that characterizes the social enterprise in Hong Kong?
I do not have many ideas about the social enterprise in other worlds. But from Key always said that our social enterprise is doing better than the best in the Asia. Key always said that. Yeah, because he has compared Hong Kong against Korea, and he said that because Hong Kong's social enterprise emphasizes on the sustainability of the business. So we do not subsidize. We just give a grant to the social enterprise for them to run their project, and we do not. We just keep track on how the employment. But in the Korea, he said that according to Key, in the Korea, they subsidize each employment.
Each person employed.
Yeah. So because they rely on the governments to give the subsidies to the employment, so they do not have much incentives or motivations to make their business better. But in Hong Kong, also, but for our funding schemes, the government funding scheme normally gives a lump sums to the enterprise for the operator to run it. So he needs to know how to run a business, how to manipulate against all the resources to make sure that he can achieve the objectives of social enterprise. So it gives more flexibility to them, and also in a certain extent, then it gives them more energy or more energetics in reacting with the environment.
I see. And then question on definition of social enterprise. Is there an official definition from any government agencies in Hong Kong?
No. There's no legal definition in Hong Kong. No registration, no legal definitions in Hong Kong.
Is there any particular reasons why this was done?
In fact, this subject is under Bureau, Home Affairs Bureau, but I have heard Home Affairs Bureaus react that because development, the growth of SE in Hong Kong is still at an early stage. They prefer it to prosperous in whatever forms, instead of giving a very strict framework to frame up all the social enterprise. So because once we have our formal legal definitions, then all will fall within the frame, and then it will limit its development at this moment, because it's still at an early development stage. But in our homepage, because the government has a designated social enterprise homepage, in the homepage we have generally described what is social enterprise.
Yes, I think I've seen this part. It's under the
our website.
Yeah. I've seen. Very
And this is normally we use this version.
Okay. Okay. Great. I'll take a look at it in more details. But how do you feel about the public in general in Hong Kong? Do they have an understanding of what is social enterprise? Why are they important? Should I or should I not buy from them? Do they have this understanding?
We start to promote the awareness of enhancing the awareness of the public, the public's awareness on the SEs for many years. So I believe that they know what is social enterprise. But in fact, in 2004, HAB has engaged CU Hong Kong and also the Hong Kong Council of Social Services to conduct a studies on the landscape of SE landscape in Hong Kong. And from his study, it has found out. He also found out how the awareness of social enterprise in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Yeah. And according to his study, he said that it's not bad, it's very good. So that's a significant improvement in the public awareness of social enterprise. 78% of the respondents were familiar with SEs.
It's quite a lot, eh? 789 respondents.
Yeah. So, and about 70% of respondents replied that SE served the double bottom lines. If they said that they know they understand what's double bottom line, that means they understand what is SE.
Right.
So the figures is very encouraging.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. So this can
okay.
do for you.
I will keep this. I will keep this.
It's just the executive summary.
Yeah. I think I've seen the full report. Professor Kevin Au.
Yeah.
He's a friend.
Yeah, because the report mainly cover the other areas, but it's just a small areas that said about that.
Sure. Is for SE, is having a relations with the government through this grant, whatever, is this important? Or
no, I don't think it's important.
It's not important for them to do well, to succeed, to achieve their social impact goals, whatever.
No, I don't think that is the relationship with the government or any political affiliations has any bearing on their success, because I think especially those under our fundings are only some SME. There's only some small business. They may just a small restaurant in the district.
Right.
So I don't think that kind of relationship is important to them. The most important thing, I think, as shared by our secretary, staff of our secretary, and also some people we encounter in our last review, we think that the most important element that for the success of the social enterprise is the leaders of the social enterprise. Whether the leaders has passions, and also whether he has the entrepreneurship. Yeah, that's important, because we found that some project officers of the project, they don't have any passions. So whenever even our secretary gives them some advice to improve the business or improve their operations, they don't take it. And then eventually, they don't mind if they didn't take it, but at least he takes something, other measures to tackle the problems.
Right.
But we don't find that, and then the project is not successful.
I see.
Yeah. But some leaders, some project officers has very good passions.
Right.
Yeah, so they will try every effort to enhance their sales or improve their draw some advice, or sometimes they will In fact, in Hong Kong, there are many advisory schemes available in Hong Kong from different SE platforms. Sometimes some SE are very keen to seek advice from different parties to how to improve their business. And if the project officer has some passions, then the chance of success will be better. And we also find some SE as a very passionate officer, but they don't have the skills, don't have the business knowledge, don't know how to how to deal with their business, and also that will be also a problem. Yeah, sometimes they don't have any business, not have much enough business, but they still employ many people. And then the cost is very high, and then no business, no income. Then the business will also have a large deficit.
I see.
Yeah. So I think the most two important elements is the passions and entrepreneurship of the leaders.
Right. I read in the newspaper there are some reports about a number of social enterprises in Hong Kong has closed their shops. Have you heard of something like this?
Many people said that for many years.
Right.
Yeah, because I think in an early stage, the social enterprise is still at the growth stage, and also most of the social enterprises are run by the NGOs. They don't have many business background. The officers do not have many business background, so they may have many SE may are under deficit. And some so those people just have impressions that social enterprise is hard to is many closed down. But in fact, our figures show that it's quite encouraging. For our funding scheme, 80% of social enterprise are still running after the funding period, because our program will only give 3 years funding. After 3 years, they have to run on their own. We do not give any supplementary funding. And then after these 3 years, they still more than 80% are still running. And then some for the first batch, some are still running at this moment. So they have already run for 10 years.
10
more than
years.
10 years. Yeah. And also for the profitability, we found that 60% after the funding period, 60% of them are able to achieve break-even. Some are all even have profit. And this figure, 60% profit, is same as that provided by Key. Yeah, Key has once said that 60% of social enterprise with profit, break-even. And for our funding scheme, it also have the same scenario, same figure, same statistics.
Right. Is there anything about Hong Kong's culture or values that helps us see this SE sector growing? Is it connected, the SE sector, the movement or the thoughts, the enthusiasm for people to start SE? Is it somewhat related to a certain mindset or values or philosophy or that Hong Kong people have?
I did not have study into this subject. But I think, I'm before I just worked in this post for 6 years. Before that, I worked in other departments. But from my jobs in the past 6 years, I found that many people are very good in Hong Kong. Even some are from the social welfare services. They have very good passions in helping the socially disadvantaged. And also, I also find some businessmen, they are also very passionate. They are just want to, especially for some managers, they may gain a lot of experience from their past business, from their business in the past, and then they want to convey their experience to the others. And for example, I see a SE project. Our winner from the SE challenge. It makes the watch. And the winner told us that she got a very good mentor. This mentor is very experienced in making watch. So this mentor advised them on many aspects on how to make the watch, how to make the belt, and even bring them to Songzhen, to the mainland China, to see how the factory will produce the belt, and then also tailor-made machines for them,
right,
to help them to make the watch,
right,
and then all along advise them how to make the branding,
right,
all sort of things,
okay,
without any reward.
I see.
So I think there are many such kind of people. Even like Ricky Yu.
Ricky Yu.
Is very passionate. He was a businessman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now he joined SE Fields.
Yeah.
And also Francis I are also very passionate.
Right.
He was he previously worked in the PCC Dao.
Yes.
And then joined SE Fields. So I think that the Hong Kong peoples are very passionate and also willing to contribute to the community.
Right.
So and even those people that do not join the SE Fields as an operator or advisor, they may also willing to buy the SE products and services.
I'm trying to go into behind this. Is it part of the education from they were young, or is it a part of their family education, or is it part of their religious belief, or what drive them to have this Yao Sam? They want to do things for society.
I'm not a socialist. I'm an undergrad education is not in legal sociology. So I don't know, but maybe the norm of the community, the atmosphere of the community also promotes something all along the Hong Kong. Whenever there is some disaster all over the world, Hong Kong people are willing to contribute. Yeah, so I think that is the atmosphere or the values of Hong Kong people.
Sure.
Whenever people have some difficulties, many people are willing to help. Yeah.
You partly mentioned about the SE that made the watch, that they are very successful because they are mentors. This leads to my next question. In your view, what are the success factors for SE based on those that you have seen? What kind of factor will help them be successful?
I think they must know, because for our funding scheme, I just comment from our funding scheme. More people will comment from our funding scheme. Because our funding scheme require the people to employ socially disadvantaged in the past 10 years. So if they need to employ the social advantage, then they need to know the characteristic of social disadvantage. Because the people are said to be socially disadvantaged must because of something happens to them. They have certain characteristics. They have some difficulty in looking for employment.
Yeah.
So they must know how to manage these people. Otherwise, it will create some problem to them.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes some organizations, they are already doing some social service for this group, for the target social disadvantaged group. And from their service, they understand their characteristics or understand their needs. And then they try to design a business that can suit their needs or make them be able to display their talents, to show their talent, to develop their talents in the jobs. And like the baseline project.
The baseline.
Yeah, and also the translegal. The
Hong Kong Translingual Service.
Yeah, services. Yeah, they know because all along they're doing such services to them.
Right.
And this is one area. But for the other end, this is also enterprise, still a business. They need to compete in the market. So they also need to know about the market, how to do a business. So in early stage, many social enterprise run by the NGO or run by social workers. So they know they very sympathetic to the social disadvantage or understand their characteristics. So sometimes they employ many staff, and then the cost of the business will increase, and that is not appropriate. And nowadays, they also learn. The social sector also learn. So they sometimes they will employ some people from the business field as the project officer, or as assistant in the SE to help the business development of the social enterprise. So at this time, the social enterprise seems to be a hybrid between the two. Yeah, so these two areas are very important.
Right.
Yeah.
So they need to understand social problem, and they need to have good market or business knowledge and skills. Right. So do you think those social enterprises that have done well, are they the ones who tend to put business first or the social first?
I think those need to balance. Yeah, if either one that means it's not a social enterprise.
Right. Because
yeah, we also find some NGOs. We also have some NGO or some charity fund. They're also NGOs. They are also Section 68 organizations. The founders of the NGOs are from the business. They do not know about the social disadvantage, but they partners with the NGOs and then make the SE successful, just like Happy Veggie.
Right. Yeah, they partner. So because I'm asking this because I've been talking to so many social entrepreneurs in this project. Some would say they're very strong in social mission, but they always say business has to go first, because without the business, they cannot achieve the social goal. So it's related, but they always say business is important. But behind the business is the bigger social goal. But some others would say it has to be the social goal is more important, and the business is just a smaller part of it. But we don't have a clear picture.
I think that is the balance. Then it depends on all the environment situations. If the business is not good, then you cannot employ the social advantage. But if you only stress on the business, you do not employ look for the interest of the social disadvantage, that it is no longer social enterprise. So I think both need to balance, but it does not say that it must be 50-50. Maybe sometimes 60-40, sometimes 40-60.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Has there been any confusion that people are confused which one is real social enterprise, which is not? Has there been any confusion in Hong Kong on this matter?
Some people said so. But I think at this moment, still many are genuine social enterprise. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, in fact, there are some just like CMARC, SE Directory. They are some accreditation scheme from the sectors. Yeah, so if people have doubt on the status of the social enterprise, then they can rely on the SE platforms to know whether they are really an SEs. Yeah, in fact, they have some weighting against their background.
Sure. I've heard this. I'm not sure if it's right or wrong. They say some people, it could be organization or people who join this kind of government grants, either ESR or 3E or SI fund, just to get the fund, and then they will set up the shop for 2-3 years, and then they closed. And so it seems like they are not there for the longer term. They're not using the grant in order to set up a social enterprise for the longer term to benefit people, but it's just to use it within that period of time. It could be for many reasons. Could be just to learn what is social enterprise, or it could just be we want to show to the world that we also following the trend. Or is this really true? Has this been happening in Hong Kong?
For our funding scheme, as I said, we have 80% projects that still continue to run after the funding period. So that kind of situations is not common. Yeah, but but there may be some SE that could not operate as they originally expect. When they first at first then they apply the funding, they think there is some such market, but eventually no such market does not exist, or because they think that their partners can help them, but that partner did not honor their promise, so they cannot run it properly. So because after 3 years they have to stand on their own. If they are in the deficit, then the organizations in fact need to bear the deficit. So some organizations may not willing to do so, so they prefer to close it down. But the percentage is not high.
Sure. Is there any, how do you call this, overlapping between social services, NGOs, and social enterprise? Are they distinctly operating, or are there any overlap between what they are doing, such that what social enterprise is doing is the activity of serving the public, providing goods or services, or helping with the employment of disadvantaged? Is this somewhat competing or overlapping with other sectors?
I will view it as a partnership. Yeah, partnership, rather than a competitions or overlapping. Because sometimes they are doing some services, social service. They will find that they will identify the needs of the socially disadvantaged, what sort of the problem they encounter, and how to help them. And then they set up the social enterprise to help them. Because on the other hand, they can choose to solely use the social service to help them. But for the social service, they need to have some funding source, and also they may not be a very real environment. Just like the shelter workshop is not a real actual environment. The originality of the ideas come from the social enterprise is that give an actual environment for the disabled to work, so that they will originally they are working in the shelter workshop, but then they have the 3E project, start the small business, is to give them an actual environment, so that they can have a contact with the public, to know what the actual job requirement.
Right.
Although this is already a very protected environment, SE is a more protected, relatively protected environment, but it's still an actual working environment to let them to have an integration with the community. So, so that they, in fact, if they want to jump out from the social enterprise and then to go into the free labor market, they can have a better capacity or capability to do so. So if they choose, also the NGO can use, if they find it suitable to meet the social need of the social advantage through the social enterprise tools, then they can use it. And then, but they need to have the source of the social disadvantage. You set up social enterprise, but you don't have social disadvantage to work in the enterprise, and it's meaningless. So they can, from their social service, they can identify such target to work in the social enterprise.
Okay.
So I think that is a partnership rather than a government.
You mentioned about sheltered workshop. What does it look like? I mean, is it really like just a room or a building where the disabled work together, or is it?
You don't know what it is.
I haven't been to one of them. I've heard a lot, but.
Oh, okay. I also do not have much knowledge, but normally the people, originally the disabled, disability, especially those mentally retarded or mental problem people, they will go to the shelter workshop to work, and because they have difficulty in finding jobs outside, but they want them to earn some skills. So the government, the social welfare department, will subsidize the NGO to pay the they say that they are trainees, and then to go to the workshop, shelter workshops to work every day. Not means that they are closed door. Just the name is called shelter workshop. In fact, it's a workshop for rehabilitation. But the type of jobs is normally in the past is quite boring. Such as when we have the elections. The DC electoral elections, then there are letter. Many letter need to put in the envelope. Then this job for the shelter workshop.
I see.
And then library, the books library, the library, public library. Then the cover to make it to make it to the books to cover. Then we'll go to the shelter workshops.
Mm.
So the job, yeah, but that kind of shelter workshop is not a general working environment.
It's not really putting this disadvantaged group into real world work environment.
Yeah. So even for the other, it is originally for the free projects, the ideas is like that. Yeah, because instead of working in the shelter workshop, they work in a restaurant, work in our retail shops, so they don't meet the public. Yeah.
I see.
And then for the other disadvantaged group, just sometimes they go to have some retraining block to go to learn to undergo the retraining, but they do not actually work in the actual environment. But in the social enterprise, they work in the actual environment. Just like the nanny, the baby sitting, they had the retraining for train up a group of middle-aged women to do that job, but they do not have any experience.
Okay.
But an SE can employ them.
Right.
Yeah, and also their working hours can tailor-made for them.
Right. Which SE is doing this nanny censorship? It's okay.
I forgot the. I don't know the English name.
有中文名？
冇英腔人。
Okay.
係啊。
冇英腔人。
Yeah. Even Raymond Yim has one of such SE.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
a similar SE. Yeah.
Okay.
That is the idea that help the socially disadvantaged.
I see.
Because if they, in fact, for our project, we encourage the social enterprise to encourage the turnover of the staff, rather than keep all the staff into their shops for a long time.
Right.
Because if they learn the skill, working skill, already has a confidence, then they should be encouraged to go outside to the labor market. Yeah. So they leave some space for some positions for the other social disadvantaged to work in the social enterprise.
I see.
Yeah, of course, such running will cause burden to the social enterprise.
Right.
Yeah, because if too much staff turnover, they will have problem. Yeah. But that is the difficulty of social enterprise.
Yeah.
So that's why the social enterprise is different from the enterprise.
Enterprise, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Do you see any relationship between a country that has a lot of social welfare support like CSSA with the development of the social enterprise, in which I'm trying to think that could it be like if a country has a lot of welfare support, people don't feel like they need to work that hard, so it will give less opportunity for SE to grow? Or would it be like when we have fewer welfare support, SE may likely to grow faster? Is there a relationship between welfare support from the government versus the rise of the social enterprise?
I haven't. We haven't done any studies on such areas.
Right.
In fact, I think that may compare. I mean, LWB may need to conduct a studies whether the growth of SE affect the relationship between CSSA and the social enterprise. But I think it may not have. Personally, my personal opinion is that it may not have a direct relationship, because social enterprise is give another. CSSA gives some financial reward to the protections to the social disadvantage, but social enterprise is more than that. It also gives some confidence or self-esteem to the social disadvantage.
Right.
Yeah. For example, as I said about the social the watch of the SE.
They make the watch.
They make the watch. They rely on the shelter workshops to produce the belts, to do the productions. In the past, they just do some the social disadvantage or the trainee in the shelter workshop is just doing some. We may think that they are very simple jobs, but when they do the watch is not a low price watch. It's more than $1,000 each, and then this watch sells to the overseas, and many and also got the a famous art award. So the people that participate in the productions will feel very proud of themselves. Such kind of luxury goods, not luxury, high value products are made by us. And that is, they will feel very happy. And also their family are also very happy. Very proud of their family members. And that's kind of self-confidence and attitude are not comparable to CSSA.
Definitely. But is there a requirement where, like, if they have received CSSA, they are not allowed to earn income, including working in a social enterprise? Is there any restrictions?
I think
I'm not sure.
CSSA has some restrictions.
Restrictions on that. Yeah. Right. Sure. I think I got a lot very useful.
In fact, if you want to go, you say, because you say you want, in another email you say you want to know the impact of our funding scheme.
Impact.
In fact, we have conducted some survey on our. We require our SE to conduct survey on their employees, and each year they need to give back the survey form during the funding period. And according to the survey on the employees, about 80% of the employees are found that are said that the SE jobs can make them feel more confident at work, and also can enhance their skills.
I see.
Work skills, and that's why we continue to run the program, because in the last review we also look into these figures, and then we conclude that we continue to run the program for another 4 years.
I see.
Because we are limited funding.
Yes.
Just 5 years, and then say 4 years.
Right.
And also we have also compared whether it is value for money to run the program. If we want, we
return on the program or whatever we call it.
If we put $1 of grants, then the people just receive lesser than the CSSA. Then why we need to bother to do so much? Just give them money. But we found that from the past progress report submitted by the SEs, we found that every $1 of grants we go to the SE. That SE within 6 years can provide $4 of salaries to the employees.
I see.
In the first 6 years.
6 years.
And the sales figure is in 6 years about $11. So for the benefit also of this, and we found that more than the SE also employ about 80% of their staff are socially disadvantaged. If so much staff are from the social disadvantaged group and the salaries is $4, that means most salaries are go to the socially disadvantaged. So we think that there is a multiplying effect. So we think that this scheme can achieve its purpose and also can benefit the socially disadvantaged. And from the economy side, we also think that it can help the economy. The growth of the economy, because $1 of grant can put in the market can generate $11 of sales. And the salaries we just quote about $4 does not take into account those. We just count the salaries to the employees directly employed by the social enterprise. We do not take into account those jobs that are not directly employed by the SEs. For example, some may have as consignment. Some SE are allowed some consignments from the social enterprise, some social disadvantage. For example, the creative cube in the Tsim Sha Tsui. They have some small boxes, and then they allow the social disadvantaged to rent these boxes and then put their products that designed by themselves to sell, and then they divide the profit. And that kind of money to the social disadvantage are not into account the salaries. And that sort of things are not counting $4.
I see.
So I think the benefits to the social advantage is more than $4. Yeah, and so we find the funding scheme are still worth to continue.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I've got a lot. And thank you so much.
Because I'm not very smooth in English for a long time.
Very smooth.
Yeah, maybe if you want to know why we in last year in 2015 we conduct a review, and then we go to the electrical to advise them that we will carry out some enhancement measures. And then at that paper we have mentioned about give them a feel about the progress of the program, and also why we want to carry out such enhancement measures. And this paper may be useful to you, and also give you some update. Statistics.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, and then what is that about the $4? $1 is a reply that we go to the electrical member.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And then this is the application guide of our funding scheme.
Okay, very useful.
Very
useful.
As I said about the priority, give the funding project.
Very useful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I hope I can help.
Thank you so much. It has been very, very helpful, very useful. I'm just wondering if I want to talk to someone from 3E, who might be handling that in EEE? Who should I contact? Because if I contact the general email, I don't think they will respond.
You may contact Ada Wong, a senior social work officer.
Ada Wong. From which department? Ada Wong.
A social welfare department.
Oh, social welfare department.
So she is a senior social work officer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So she's on the 3E program.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the government directory, can identify.
Ada Wong. Okay. Wong. Maybe full name of Wong.
Oh, I
forgot the name. Okay.
It is under the rehabilitations and medical services section.
Sure. Okay. I'm sure, given her post and her social work background, she can give me more information. And I think Raymond Yim. Yeah? I think I should talk to Raymond Yim, because he has run a number of social enterprises and he knows very well.
And also he has a long history in participation in the social enterprise field. Very passionate.
And also maybe Sylvia Yong Tawa, if she was available.
I don't know. She is very busy.
Very busy. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me just save this file.